Ladies and gentlemen, the RRT Boxing Show with Mr. A, Episode 6, will begin shortly. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Up close and mysterious? What are we hiding? What are we talking about? We talking that boxing. I am your host, Mr. A. This is Ready Talk Boxing. We got another failed PED test, a failed drug test. We got some super featherweight talking. We got some subscriber request prediction. And we will be talking about a possible, looking at something going around and figuring the way boxing works. It could be a Daniels Jacob matchup in the Lumens. A mystery opponent, Mr. A may. Just Mr. A's thoughts on a Daniel Jacobs opponent that may be mysteriously building up. Ooh, and after that, we will discuss the nice press conference of Dylan White and Lucas Brown, a nice heavyweight bout that we have a breakdown of. And then we will also be ending the show with a breakdown and prediction of Anthony Joshua taking on Joseph Parker for the IBF, WBA, IBO, and the WBO championships. So please stay tuned. Hope you enjoy the show. And this is Mr. A saying, I give you a thumbs up. Just hope you return it back. Now we're starting the show off with the subscribers request for a breakdown of prediction. So he wanted Carl Kelly and Lucas Ballingall. Dave. Now, pretty good matchup. Got a nice little Irishman, Carl Kelly. He's making his second fight. He got 4 rounds under his belt. Taking on Lucas, who's 8-0, 30 rounds. 3 KOs. Carl Kelly, if I'm not mistaken, I believe this fight might be at 130. If I'm not mistaken. Their weights are up and down on their records, taking fights at any given notice. For those who do not know who these fighters are and are like myself and just came across them on this request, I thank you for supporting this channel, for watching this. I believe Carl Kelly is like he's a come forward fighter, a pressure fighter. It looked like he's trying to mimic a Triple G, trying to mimic that style, while Lucas is a turn you fighter. He'll turn you, letting some fiery combinations of 1, 2, 3. I'm trying to think, who does he fight like? Maybe a slow down Amir Khan. I'm trying to think who else fires combinations like that. But something like that. Maybe like Amir Khanish versus a Triple G-ish type fighting style. That's what this fight is a mesh of. And going into the breakdown, like I said, Carl is 1-0 professionally. But I did see some other fights on him on YouTube, so I don't know if that's just like how Lomachenko was in the World Boxing Series before he would turn pro, but those fights don't count. So Carl Kelly and Lucas Brown breaking it down feet-wise for this bout. Who I believe, like I said, Carl Kelly is a come-forward fighter. He's going to try and just pressure you, hit you with punches. He's going to pressure you. His feet ain't exactly cutting you off, just walking you down. Gets as he gets fatigued, he leans in on you. His legs get a little stiff. He doesn't generate, like I said, his legs and his whole gusto is the first couple rounds. So and then compared to Lucas, I believe Lucas has the speedier legs to go in and out and move around the ring to make Carl Kelly wastes even more energy walking him down. So I'm going to give the legs to Lucas on this one. Now, as far as defensively, this is where, because there are gaps in like Carl Kelly's defensive gap is in his offense, because his offense is his defense. He just comes forward and tries to just hit you and hit you and hit you, eventually wear you down. Because as he's hitting you with cleaner shots, he's getting decisions on people. He's not knocking them down. So obviously he's not getting the proper leverage through his legs into his punches, even though he's hitting you with a lot of clean shots. And I believe he comes in too aggressive, it's not patiently planned out for pain. He just tries to do it, and he comes in, gapping. His backhand is low when he's throwing with his lead hand. It's never, as Barry Hunter would say, holding the phone. It's never up high, so he's able to get hit in between there. And I believe Lucas, he has the speed like Amir Khan, I believe, and the linky arms to get in there and find those flaws with the speed and the legs to exit on angles. Now, the flaw of his defensive is when he exits like Amir Khan, he can get caught sometimes with his head up high. So there's a good chance that Carl Kelly can catch Lucas on a way out with something, one of those just nasty rights. Now, how do I like I said, I feel that defensively, since Carl Kelly defense is his offense, defensively I'm going with Lucas. I think he moves around better, and he's a little sharper at avoiding punches, rolling them, slipping them, while Carl Kelly just comes forward. And offensively, punch-wise, jab for jab, Carl Kelly doesn't use his enough for the type of offensive style he's trying to fight with. Triple G showed that once you could pop in with a jab, you're able to unleash it. Carl Kelly kind of just tries to unleash it. He doesn't use his jab enough. Lucas Brown understands he has the speed to work behind the jab, so the jab, the speed combinations, and all the variations, speed, combo variations, like I said, that all goes to Lucas Balinali. Now, for Carl Kelly to win this fight, I believe with his offensive pressure, he's going to at least have to cut off the ring, somewhat. You can't just completely follow Lucas around. To me, Carl Kelly, he's hot for like the first half of the fight. He keeps the pressure going and going and going the whole fight, but you can tell that the steam, his opponents start to come back on him. Because the first half of the fight, they're kind of like trying to like evade this pressure. Like, this dude is coming after me. And as the fight goes on, they're able to withstand it and then actually kind of walk him down. So if he's going to have to apply heavy body pressure on the skinnier frame of Lucas, and so that way he don't have to chase him down as much and cut off the ring. While Lucas, I believe, is just going to have to jab through the gaps. And with Carl Kelly, he throws a lot of open hooks. You can attack his body because his gap is wide between his punches. So I'm going to go with Lucas Ballingall to defeat Carl Kelly. I believe this is a 6-round fight. Like I said, the other fights I've seen on YouTube, Carl did go 10 rounds and stuff, but his first professional was 4. I didn't like the way he looked ghastly. And even in his previous YouTube ones, I didn't like how he kind of looks in the first and second half of the fight. So I think Lucas Ballingall will have the hand speed and the foot speed to stay away if he doesn't get caught rolling out. I pick Lucas to win on points. Now, I was talking from a former super featherweight in Lucas. I think he's 130. Or either that or, like I said, the weight's going up. But going into super featherweights, we have a popped drug test, a failed drug test, folks. Synthetic testosterone. And that belongs to Konishi Ogawa, the man who defeated Tevin Farmer for the IBF belt. Yes, yes, folks. He has popped dirty, so most likely he will be stripped of that title. A title that he defeated Tevin Farmer on the scorecards of 115, 113, 116, 112, and one card for Farmer was 116, 112. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with the story, I do a quick cap of it. Tevin Farmer and Emily Gishiwa. Tevin Farmer first had a big old hype with Tank Davis. That's how his name got heard, blah, blah, blah. They're whooping back and forth when Davis was the champ. Fight me, fight me, fight me. No, no, no. Beef, beef, beef. Tank Davis loses his belt on the scales. Then Tevin Farmer ends up getting a vacant fight against Ogawa for that title. And many believe Ogawa got outboxed by Tevin Farmer. You know, right here on the show, Mr. A predicted Ogawa to win that fight, and I thought he won that fight. I thought Tevin Farmer's dominance of the first 4 rounds switched round 5 and 6, and the control, the pace, and the tempo, and just the shots of the fight, everything went towards Ogawa in a very tight fight, but that's how Mr. A scored it. Well, anyway, back to now Ogawa has failed a drug test, most likely to be stripped, leaving most likely Tevin Farmer to get another shot, considering it was such a highly controversial loss in the first place. And with number 1 and 2 being not fulfilled in the IBF, number 3 being Billy Dib, number 4 being Tevin Farmer, and number 5 being Gervonta Tank Davis. I wonder, do you see it blooming in the air? Do you hear whistling in the winds? Davis versus Farmer, the former feud. You know, you got a guy who many believe won that fight he got the belt that the champion lost on the scales, Gervonta Davis. Why not give him a shot at his belt back against a guy who should have been champion? They have beef. It makes a nice PBC card. Now, who will win that fight? We're just going to have to see for another breakdown and prediction. But right now, that shall be interesting. Considering that the world got to see Tevin Farmer and they liked him, they actually got now they got empathy and a connection with him. How would they feel against his style against Tank Davis? Because they were saying, how crafty and swift, it was all after the fight he outboxed him. So how will that style? He was able to use the ring. Does Davis have the footwork to cut him off? Obviously, he has the punch and power, but Farmer looked pretty elusive. He knows how to use that ring. That'd be an interesting fight. Do some nice studying on that one. And then moving on to the other champion, Burchett. He has no fight. He's held a press conference with the WBC president, Suleiman himself, just to say, I don't have an opponent. No, it's not Miguel Roman. It's not him. I have no opponent. We will give the fans the show they deserve to see. And like I said, it could be that Johnny Gonzalez fight. It could be stalling on that. The thought in. So keep that in the loops, folks. Right here on Double R, ready. Talk that boxing with Mr. A. Please give that thumbs up. And is that how you woke up? Wanting that boxing talk? Ready, waking up for boxing talk? Yes, sir. Right here, thumbs up. More featherweight news, folks. I said we're going right into featherweights. You got Burchett looking for opponent. You got Davis, where they got the IBF title, might be stripped. And then you got good old Lomachenko. Everyone wants a piece of Lomachenko now, something. You know, before it's like, oh, is he a star? You know, he's not really considered pound for pound, but it's certainly starting to get a recognition because people are starting to call poor Lomachenko out now. You got Pacquiao calling Lomachenko out. You got Jorge Linares saying he'll fight either him or Mikey after this this uh this fight coming up with his Geisha, I believe it was. And who else is calling Lomo out? You got and Burchett himself at the press conference. At the press conference, that is correct. No opponent, but he said he's willing to fight anyone, even if Lomachenko wants to step in and fill in that unification slot. He'd be willing to fight Lomachenko. Now, has Lomachenko slowly becoming the name to stay relevant? You know, talk that talk, you know? Like I said, certain people need to talk that talk, say certain things. Like I said, yesterday's episode we talked about Dimitri Andrade not staying, or I'm not sure, I'm sorry, but we talked about Dimitri Andrade not talking enough or staying relevant. You got Tyson Fury saying, hey, I'll be Joseph Parker's sparring partner. Tyson Fury always keeping himself relevant. And then you have Burchett just calling out names. Is Lomachenko the name now to make yourself, you know, hey, he said he fight Lomo. So people talk about you. People talk about you because Lomo had that belt for a good while. Now no one talked about really calling him out, but hey, it's good to hear. It's good to see here now. You got two people who can't really take the call outs too serious. At least I don't. Burchett, I do. I value that one. It's champion in your division. Because if you back away from that call out, you immediately kind of lower your stock in boxing, your fans, just the boxing audience. And, you know, now as far as this Jorge Linares, it makes some sense considering, you know, there's a Mikey fight also up there. Lomachenko has and his father has said they will move up eventually. So that one, Jorge Linares, I could see it, but I don't see. I'd be surprised if Lomachenko's dad takes on a Mikey Garcia or Jorge Linares first fight at 135, unless the money is just can't turn down. I think his dad will maybe want to fight number 2, possibly number 3, maybe even number 1. Like basically number 1, 2, and 3, depending on how he feels about his son's weight. That's who his dad is matching him up with. If they feel they're on point and the money's right, they're going to take that championship Linares or Garcia fight. That's my opinion on that. That's my thought so far on that call out. Mr. A's thought, I said, people are just calling Lomachenko's name out like he's easy to beat. That's crazy. Mikey Garcia, Jorge Linares, Burchett, and then of all people you have Pacquiao. And that took the internet running. That got some waves going. And it worked beautiful, I think, for what it's supposed to do. I believe right here on the Double RT Boxing Show, Mr. A's Thoughts segment. I believe it's just a smoke screen to cover up his fight against Alvarado. We already kind of accept if that's who it's going to be. But before it's officially announced, and right now it's just a rumor, it's not officially announced, not, booked in. If that fight gets officially announced, Pacquiao versus Mike Alvarado, then it would get officially reviewed by critics, fans, and he might catch some serious, disappointment for that, even though it's where he's at in his career. Now, if it's already being said, like, hey, I want to fight Lomachenko, I want to fight this, now it's going to go to the same thing how he used Mayweather's name. You always looked at Pacquiao's fights, but if he wins this, he's going to fight so-and-so next. So it's the same thing. I think Pacquiao and Bob Arum, they've been doing this for years, and they know how to make a Pacquiao fight sell. Call out Lomo, mention something about it, because Lomachenko's pops already said, like I said, they already said no, they're not fighting Pacquiao. Not at 140. Not at 140. They're not. The jump is way too big. It's no. We will take our time and get there. There's nothing for us in fighting Pacquiao. He's old. We would do it on our terms. So I believe this is just PR smoke and mirrors. And it's working. It's working right now because everyone's just going to look at the Mike Alvarado fight. And then once they see the victory, it's either B for Jeff Horn or Crawford, or it's like, hey, where's Lomachenko for Pacquiao? It's all smoke and mirrors. Now, as for Crawford and Horn, speaking of, where is that fight? Where is that fight? Can that money really be that off? Can it be that? Because they're announcing that they're talking about how they wanted it for the 21st. Bob Arum saying that fight was supposed to be for the 21st in the T-Mobile Arena. And now, considering Las Vegas has a hockey team doing decent, they already have a contractual dates. There's a good chance for that team making the playoffs for that fight date. And the date they're thinking about now, on the 14th, they're saying they have a Justin Timberlake concert lined up for the T-Mobile. So they're looking at the MSG. Now, that being said, all that is from the articles in the boxing scene. Nothing is meant how the fight has been reached, though, and looking for a location. The only thing that's still mentioned in that fight is Team Horn has reached agreement with the negotiations. Basically, he hasn't signed no contract, and Crawford hasn't signed no contract. And the Mundine fight has taken place. Can it be waiting still for the outcome? Can they somehow work it out without Jeff Horn being stripped? Everyone make a little money. Crawford gets the next fight. Crawford gets the Pacquiao fight. Maybe they're somehow working that out, or is it just strictly the fight is reached and they're really just working on a location? But like I said, there is nothing on the Crawford side out there saying they reached agreement for negotiations. That it's being worded like the fight is done. No, the fight is obviously the fight that's anticipated to be done, but nothing on Team Crawford's side yet. Nothing at all. So going from nothing at all to possibly something, Daniel Jacobs, nothing at all. Looking for an opponent. This 26th of this month, Alfredo Angulo and Julio Cesar Chavez was supposed to fight, and at the last minute, Chavez Jr. has pulled out of this fight, saying still wasn't happy with the financial terms, which means he's not pulling out of a contracted fight. So it was just basically almost like an agreement, but nothing was really settled. Because Angulo's saying he's already kind of a backup plan with a fighter scheduled with promoted by Mayweather, and both Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. and Daniel Jacobs have mentioned in the past that they want to fight each other, especially Jacobs saying he wants to fight Chavez. And right now, with Chavez still having some type of money, clout name, looking for money fights, and Daniel Jacobs definitely trying to keep his name big, looking for money fights as well, meaningful fights. Chavez Jr. versus over a Spike Sullivan would be better for his career, money-wise and the name-wise, even with the performance that Chavez Jr. laid out against Canelo. He'll still get more credit right now with a win over Chavez Jr. than an Andy Lee and a Spike O'Sullivan. Now, like I said, that fight between Chavez Jr. was scheduled the 26th of this month. Given that it's April 21st, I believe, the Daniel Jacobs is going to the New York with Katie Taylor on the undercard. So they're really trying to help that. I think she will help that. And at the same time, the card will help Katie Taylor with Daniel Jacobs on. So that's a double whammy for both of those fighters. So that will be interesting. Let's keep our ears open for any action with Chavez Jr. and Daniel Jacobs. Because, I'm pretty sure Daniel Jacobs would be favored to win that fight. Eddie Hearn's that's right up Eddie Hearn's alley. That type of name matching, that's a good quality name matching fight. Now, Chavez Jr. he's going to ask for money, but he should get a reasonable amount. And that fight, if it's not a problem with HBO, I don't see why HBO won't pick up that fight. That will get some tunes. People will tune in for that fight. Then the next thing we will talk about, we're now moving into the heavyweights right here on the Double RT Boxing Show. If you have not thumbs up yet, please thumb it up. I am your host, Mr. A. I appreciate all your support. Checked out the Dylan White and the Lucas Brown press conference, and just body languages alone, I felt more confident in those two fighters than I felt watching the AJ and Parker conference. Lucas Brown showed a way to be polite, a respectful person, but still talk it to your opponent and keep it interesting for the boxing fans to say, well, I really want to see this fight even more now. While Parker, on the other hand, talked a lot of talk to social media and then got in front of his opponent and didn't say nothing. And Parker drank a lot of water in that press conference. Yes, I know he had a suit on and they get hot there. But Dylan White, he had a nice little, Fox rubber leather jacket or something, he had 1 cup of water. Parker was just drinking water. Was that a sign of nervousness? Was the moment getting big for him? Lucas Brown, Dylan White, did they discuss their touchy failed drug test issues? Back and forth. Dylan White called him a junkie. They each said they're going to knock each other out. Compared to Parker saying, and I hope I get to test his chin and knock him out. I will knock him out. I will. It's like, just the whole delivery of their character was different between the champions press conference and the next tier contenders. Their body reactions, language was just different. So that was interesting to see in that. And like I said, and speaking of the press conferences, how AJ mentioned the whole David Price thing. David Price leaked out gave a little interview, went into a little more detail about how that sparring session went. That sparring session, he said, with the big gloves, he faked the left hook and just caught him with another right hook, and Joshua just fell face first. He tried to get up, but he was on like stubborny legs. They had to carry him out the ring. So that's how that went. So it's, if that means anything, he got dropped and fell face first. Now is that just more PR to hype up that fight between David Price and Alexander Povetkin? Trying to get that on the undercard, because Eddie Hearn's been publicly saying that Povetkin again will be on the undercard. Announced David Price will agree to fight Povetkin. That's 2 days in a row now. Some David Price news off the name of AJ, just like the Lomos. Say a certain name, your information gets a little hotter. Hey, I just happened to put AJ face down and they carried him out the ring. Oh man, he's tall. He might be able to do that to Povetkin. Povetkin is old, so they're just building up that story, building it up. And Eddie Hearn, basically, even if they're saying, hey, we want to fight David Price, but he's already saying, hey, the fight with Povetkin they already agreed it will be over here in UK. So basically, whoever Povetkin fights, they already know. Basically, they just booked it in that Povetkin's going to win. So they're saying they agreed to the terms that a Povetkin fight will happen in the UK. And Eddie Hearn's also saying if they're going to bring the fight, good chance they'll bring the fight over and fight in Vegas. Now, it's good news. It's good news, But you wonder, why of all fights, why take that one to Vegas? He could have took Klitschko to Vegas, but hey, fighting Klitschko there's a massive fight. He could have fought Martin in Vegas, bigger fight. Fighting Wilder in Vegas is not going to be a bigger crowd than fighting Wilder in the UK. That's going to be a way bigger fight in the UK. So why fight him in the States? Unless, my opinion on they're saying why fight him in the States, it's not like, hey, the big fights happen in America. You got to fight in America to make your name, to say who you are. I think that's, for the most part, I understand that. I understand, but for this fight, for Wilder versus Joshua, my personal opinion, if that fight is being talked about happening in Vegas, I believe it's a kind of a move out of fear. They know there's a possibility that power is real, and they maybe don't want Anthony to get dropped in front of his home crowd. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking, because there's no reason for that fight not to happen in the UK. No reason whatsoever. The crowd's going to be bigger. The money's going to be generated massively. You get the network deal regardless. He's going to say, oh, AJ's a warrior. He'd go to Deontay's backyard and do it. He'll bring his fans because he's that type of champion. This is what he wants to do. They're going to say a whole bunch of that malarkey. I think it's just deep down inside, there's a chance that he doesn't want to get knocked out in front of 90,000 people. He'd rather get knocked out and maybe 20,000 people. That's, the fight can't end up that way. That's just my opinion on that. Now, speaking of Anthony Joshua, of course, he is fighting Joseph Parker. They have their 4-belt unification, IBO, baby, IBO. So, again, unification, and this is the breakdown and prediction time right here on Ready Talk Boxing. Again, new viewers, hope you become new subscribers. If you haven't hit that thumbs up already, please hit that thumbs up. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate all your support. Now, this breakdown and prediction for the big guys. Anthony Joshua, 20-0, 20 knockouts, as Eddie Hearn cleverly made sure he mentioned the only perfect record heavyweight. Going against Joseph Parker, 24-0, 18 KOs, 75% knockout ratio. Against 100% ratio. Joseph Parker got 123 rounds. Anthony 69, 28, 26 years old. Anthony's coming in with a 2-inch height advantage at 6'6", 6'4", and an 82 to 76-inch reach. Now that caught me a little by surprise. I knew Joseph Parker's had a little stubby type arms, but I didn't know AJ's reach was 6 inches on him. Whew, that's gonna be tough for Parker. That is going to be tough for Parker. Now, considering Parker, to break this down with their legs, Joshua, I don't know if I seen Joshua really do a back foot boxing. Obviously he has massive thigh and hamstring muscles. He generates great power. He has a technique and footwork. He's always in proper position. His legs are on point as far as coming forward and bending at the waist and knees. As lateral movement, he could turn his opponent. Basic turn your opponent in a circle boxing technique. I'm not too sure how much of a back foot fighter he is, or a backwards moving fighter, I should say. And a lateral movement, I just think his frame is too big for that, so his legs ain't good at that wise. But Joseph Parker, he can back foot fight. People say he likes to come forward, but look at a lot of his last recently fights. He's doing a lot of back foot fighting. So he can back foot fight. He lunges a lot with his legs. He doesn't know how to jab himself quite in and cut the distance. He lunges in like we saw against Hughie Fury. He misses a lot of shots due to that. And his feet work is subpar after that. So legs and feet, we're going with Anthony Joshua. Defensively, we're going Anthony Joshua. Joseph Parker's defense is his offense. Whether it's to put a volume of punches forward on you or just back foot circling around the ring jabbing. When it comes to actually applying defense with no punching and trying to slip punches, use his legs, use craftiness, Joseph Parker gets hit a lot. So he like I said, he tries to just outwork you for his defense. Where we've seen AJ's he's pretty solid. He got the tight guard. He rolls his arm, he blocks it with his elbows, his forearms. He rolls some. He'll do some countering. Like I said, we just haven't seen him too much on push backwards. We don't know how AJ is going backwards. He got pretty good head movement. The only way to really catch AJ slipping is be first, or slip one and throw in between his shots. AJ's pretty sound defensively. So easily AJ on the defense. Now offensively, how this fight breaks down, jab for jab. AJ has that jab. Just technique. AJ is just a more solid fighter. He's with the 6-inch reach and the technique. His jab is just snapping. He knows how to control you with it, and he knows how to do damage with it. Whereas Parker, I believe he just kind of flicks it out there. It's not really a controlling jab. It's I wouldn't say it's a rangefinder. It's just a punch. It's just to keep you busy. So jab, we're going with AJ. Combinations and variations. I believe, even though he hasn't quite shown it all the time, he's more of a 1-2, I believe. I think Anthony Joshua is a better combination puncher. Actually, I know he is. He's more crisper. He's cleaner inside. He mixes an uppercut in there. While Joshua's combinations, he loses a lot of the battles. You don't see Anthony Joshua lose too many combination battles. When Anthony Joshua throws combinations, they're pretty meaningful shots. AJ combinations, he's getting hit in a lot of them, and they're really like knuckle, like outer, like inner knuckle slappy punches. If you watch it from when he took up his competition, even during the Takam punches, his punches weren't fully turned over. But the Andy Ruiz fight, a lot of slappy punches, and then his first title defense against Cajano, he was hitting Cajano left and right, and nothing was done because there's a lot of slappy punches. He was reaching and couldn't get a clean shot on Hughie Fury, and when he did, he doesn't turn his punches. He's fast, he shows flash, but his punches aren't turned. And so I believe his combinations are just arm flinging combinations. I believe he might be a little faster than AJ, but AJ has the combination variation, the power, I think he has a better inside game. And I'm picking how can Joseph Parker win this fight? Because I am picking AJ to win this fight. But how can Joseph Parker win this fight? He will have to, I believe, back foot box AJ, kind of like he did Ruiz. But he's going to have to cleverly and timely pick his spots, when to attack AJ and turn out. He can't constantly be in AJ's range, and he can't constantly be going at AJ because his combinations are very arm slappy. And if he tries to constantly exchange with Anthony Joshua, who is the crispier puncher, will punch right through his stuff, right through the gaps, and just connect hard. So I believe he's going to have to back foot fight him, turn AJ, use timely judgment when to attack, and spin out. And if he has to hold him and get broken up by the ref. And like I said, the back foot fighting and using lateral movement to tire AJ out. A lot of movement, work his body on the back foot, and then maybe take AJ into like deeper water, see how his conditioning is. Because I don't see him knocking AJ out unless AJ just gets really gassed out through body work, or Parker chooses good timing to go in and out on him. As far as why am I picking Anthony Joshua to not only win but knock out Joseph Parker, I don't think Parker can hang in front of Anthony Joshua, like he did a little bit for Takam, like he did a little bit for Ruiz. Definitely how he did against Cojano. And throw those slappy hooks and combinations and slappy rib shots. You know, AJ won't get phased by those. If he's not turning his punches over, all those slapping, AJ's gonna, that body will be able to absorb that, and he'll just punch right through his gaps. Now, as far as back foot fighting AJ and trying to tire him out, for him to do a body game, he's going to have to do a strong jab to AJ's body or really get inside his reach and do some body game, which I don't think he has the inside game to beat AJ. And the back foot fight him, I think AJ has, because I do believe AJ is not going to come in at 255. I think AJ is going to come in about no lighter than 243. He's going to be, I think he's going to be about 243, 244. He's going to be a little lighter on his feet, and I think he's just going to be able, with that 6-inch reach, he's going to be able to apply more pressure and power to anyone that Joseph Parker fought before, and where he's normally used to that weak, slow, sloppy back foot jab won't be as effective and give him the opportunity to jump in and out on Joshua. Like I said, because I don't think he turns, unless he just clearly just tempo shots or catches Joshua with a nice, say, boxing shot. I don't think he turns his punches over enough. And I got Anthony Joshua knocking Joseph Parker out in round 8. This is Mr. A saying thank you for your support. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the show.